What's up in your dome? What's up in your dome? Bring that shit.
Hello and welcome back to Digging in the Dome. I'm one half of the stupidity, Chris. That other idiot over there is Kevin. He's a father, apparently, although I'm sure right now he's feeling like he wants to, I think, jump off of a building because he's very tired.
0 out of 10, do not recommend.
So we continue our string of wonderful guests with yet another accomplished, hilarious stand-up comedian. She made her debut on season 7 of NBC's Last Comic Standing, was a featured performer on Just for Laughs New Faces, and won the first ever People's Choice Award at the New York Comedy Festival. In 2013, she was on The Late Show with David Letterman and was featured on season 2 of The Degenerates on Netflix, which you may have seen recently. It was right before COVID ruined the world. So was that stand-up set the reason for COVID? I don't know. Anything's possible. Maybe we'll get to the bottom of that mystery today. Her album, Baby Skeletons, is available on anywhere you get your audio content. And most importantly, right in our backyard, she's headlining Soul Joel's Comedy Club on Saturday, January 29th. Please welcome to the show, the very funny Adrienne Iapalucci. Adrienne, welcome to the show.
How are you?
Oh,
Thanks
wonderful.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, sorry for I'm going to stop having such accomplished guests. Takes up half the interview when I like running through their credits. Jesus.
Oh, no one's heard about those credits.
I have to say, I'm kind of bummed that you're here because I was delighting in the number of times that you blew Chris off. So it was making me really happy. I was hoping you would continue with a string of increasingly ridiculous reasons why you couldn't make the podcast. I'd be like, oh, my dog died. My dog's uncle died.
Oh, yeah. I said my stepfather died, which happened. There's just a lot of drama going on.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry.
But it was making me very happy that Chris was getting repeatedly blown off. So sorry that you're here.
Off to do anything good.
Yes. I have unicycle training. Sorry, I have
yes.
of clown college. Oh, great.
I never even said that. The time I just said nothing, which I think is just a way to be like, hey, it's not a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And then so I think that I did a good job. I said, all right, she's not ready yet. I'm going to wait. I really wanted to have you on because you're very funny. And we saw you most recently with Sarah Tolomash at Soul Joel's the last time I think that you were there. Yeah, it was a while back.
The first shows that I did coming out of the pandemic. Well, where I did like 30 minutes because I didn't start doing stand-up again until like April.
Yeah. So like, what was that like? So, and we asked this pretty much to every like performer because, especially when that's your entire life, your entire gig is centered around comedy. And really being on the road and being a road comic and doing that for a living. What did you do like when COVID was going on? Like, how did you keep yourself busy? How did you keep yourself going?
I did, a couple of like Zoom shows. Most of them are terrible.
Pretty consistently what we heard. They're bad.
Yeah. Aaron Berg did one where it was really fun. And then I did like a new joke show where there's like no, there's no like real, like no one cares because it's all new jokes and they know that. So there's no pressure to like kill. So that was kind of fun. I just went through different stages of what I did. Like one stage was like, just getting everything that I thought we were going to die.
Right.
So like, gloves and masks and stuff. And then I redid my apartment. That was another thing. And then I got focused on, just like, I don't know, beauty stuff. So like, I just went through I had a sneaker phase. I just went through different phases.
Sneaker phase. I really do think that like, this is like, if we're really trying to get to the root of why COVID happened, I think it's Jeff Bezos' fault. I think he just wanted to he's getting divorced. He's getting half his stuff taken. He's like, you know what? I know what I need to do. I need to lock people away for a long period of time. That way they have no choice but just to shop on Amazon.
Amazon, I bought so much Amazon stuff. And then I also did this stuff where you ordered a lot of stuff and then returned it all. So that was another phase.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of phases during the pandemic.
You want to get get anxiety, go back and look at I just did this recently because my mother-in-law, when she was here for Christmas, broke the carafe in my coffee maker. And so I'm like looking frantically to find out all the information about the coffee maker so I could buy a replacement carafe, which apparently is on back order because all mother-in-laws break that carafe. I think it's like a common theme. But like I went back and just saw the list of things that I bought during COVID. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I won't do it.
Look at your orders.
Money.
Ooh, it was a lot.
There's a reason Jeff Bezos has a friggin' spaceship.
Exactly. Exactly.
Your Amazon orders.
Yes. Well, yes, definitely. We were definitely helping.
For him. I don't care.
Would you say he what?
I said I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Good for Jeff. Let him, you live, guy. Whatever.
I figured out how to become, what is he, a billionaire or a trillionaire? Good for him.
Yeah.
He started at Amazon in his garage, right? So
yeah. That's a great story. And it was like it wasn't like a book service for a period of time. And then it became the shopping juggernaut that it is today. I think it started with books, but yeah, pretty cool, man. That's awesome. Good for Jeff. Let him go to space. Fuck it.
The more people we get into space, the less people there'll be here. I don't know why people are upset about it. Keep sending all the people out.
Go right ahead.
I was trying. I tried.
Oh, that's right. You did. He tried to go to space.
I literally applied to like go to space. Like I did the interview with Input Magazine. Like I was
what? Just like
it was this Japanese billionaire was going into space and he was taking 7 people with him that were just random Joe Schmoes. And they basically had like a whole interview process, and Mark Yarm from Input Magazine reached out to me and wanted to talk to me about applying to do this thing. I didn't get chosen. So unfortunately I had a baby instead. So you can tell that I'm very bad at making life choices.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'd be an astronaut.
Did they not pick you because you have a baby?
No.
Yeah. That was how Kevin was trying to escape the baby. He's like, take me as far off this planet as possible. Then I will shirk my responsibility.
They didn't pick me because I have baby skeletons.
I see what you did there. Well done.
So wait, did they say you're out or you just couldn't do it?
There was like 50,000 people that applied. So I was not interesting enough, I guess, as a podcaster / musician / corporate stooge. So
I'll co-sign that. I'll co-sign that.
So I guess I didn't make it past the second phase of the process.
Yeah.
But I did try. I absolutely tried to go to space.
Did it end up happening?
Oh yeah, that guy is actually there now, I believe. I can't remember what his name is, but he like keeps posting things on Twitter, like playing ping pong in space, like shit like that.
That seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, no, like you got to go to like on a weird Japanese billionaire's rocket. Like that's like a recipe for you getting, sold into sex slavery and on Zeepsorp, some other planet. That'd be great. Just Kevin is in a different dimension. Kidding.
Have you tried parenting?
I have 2 kids, so yes.
I am fine with the space.
Yeah, the space is
space rape is just fine with me. Thank you.
Space rape.
Everything that you want to do is going to get shot down by that guy. You got to do whatever he wants to do. That's annoying.
That's exactly right. He's like, worship of my feet. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm paying for this trip. You didn't read the contract that you signed, sir. Yeah, you're in deep trouble.
What were they going away for? I'm amazed that you'd want to do this.
I think it's like 8 weeks or something like that. It's like 2 months, 3 months, something like that.
I can't believe you'd want to do that.
Yeah. I mean,
that's scary.
Your life
I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid.
Your life that you want to go away with some guy you don't know in space.
Yeah. And 6 other strangers.
I know. Yeah, you don't like.
Who knows? There's a sitcom in there somewhere. I'm telling you.
Sure.
Or a reality television show.
Yes.
After I go insane and murder everyone.
Yes.
It's like,
Mr. Wong's Wild Ride. Yeah, it's great. I don't think that's gonna. We're really struggling for content if we're putting that on the air.
Did you like look into how you have to go to the bathroom and stuff? I think you have to like tie yourself to a toilet bowl.
Oh God.
Yeah, I did not dig into the details. I went, it sucks here. Let me go somewhere else.
I get that. Would your girlfriend or wife be okay with you leaving for space? With you, maybe
after she got pregnant, probably not. But before that, she would have been like, toodaloo.
Yeah, have fun. I'll be playing golf. Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly.
The exact reaction to it.
What did you guys do during the pandemic?
We started this podcast. That was part of it.
Yeah, we started this podcast. That was one thing we did.
Were you guys working or were you also shut down?
I was still working. Like we actually, and I work in like, we both work for corporate jobs, not when we're not doing this. So yeah, we just kept keeping on, like actually had like really good couple of years of performance for my company. So, I mean, it was fine.
A lot of companies found out that you could be successful without forcing people to get dressed up and go into a place far away from their house.
Yeah.
You give them a little bit of breathing room and give them a little bit of levity and
technology.
And technology. Like they can be just as successful as put them in a suit and tie and sticking them in a small cubby hole in a building with a bunch of people they don't want to be around. So we both been working from home pretty much.
Yeah. And I was traveling. I mean, you can attest to this. I was traveling everywhere. I was traveling all over the place. I was like 2 weeks of the year or of the month, I was on a plane going somewhere. And then all of a sudden my old ass company was like, oh, technology, the future. And then we're like, nobody is going anywhere. Right? It's like, how much money do we burn on just sending people all over the place? It's crazy. And we were much more productive.
Home, great at that.
What was that?
Now you get to work from home.
Yeah, it's great. That? It's fantastic. I don't have to I could just do everything I need right here. Are you like that kind of person? Would you rather like, given the chance, just be like, I'd rather just stay home and like be home and do stuff at home? Or do you like to travel? Since you're a traveling, working comedian, you have to travel a lot.
I don't know. I'm really a homebody, so I don't love traveling. And, also with, I guess, the winter coming, we're just dealing with all those elements where almost every trip is like, hey, due to inclement weather, your flight might get canceled. So you're just like, okay, I guess I'm going to wait and see. I was with Ari in Cleveland last weekend, and there was like a snowstorm coming. Mm-hmm. And we didn't want to get stuck. They said that our flight might get canceled, and it actually did start snowing. So that's why I was like, usually I'm like, okay, I'll just see what happens. Mm-hmm. So we ended up driving to Detroit. It took us like 4 hours to fly out of there. And then our flight didn't even get canceled.
Oh, no. So all that for nothing. Although if you would have gone to the airport.
I assume delayed, but so Detroit has a hotel in the airport. It's insane. From my window, I could see the security line. That was pretty cool.
I think that they have the same kind of thing in Chicago. There's like the big airport in Chicago, like it's connected right to we used to have meetings there, and the hotel was right downstairs. It was awesome. It was so convenient. You just grabbed your stuff and went. Yeah. Getting to the airport's kind of the bitch. So I did have.
I can imagine like how bad has it been like traveling? Like we see the news and stuff like that, and they say that air travel is like a complete nightmare and flights are constantly getting canceled. Has it been as bad as they portray it to be? It's for someone that's currently in a hotel in Oklahoma.
Well, I mean, last night my flight was like delayed 50 minutes, but it took off. Also, when you get to Oklahoma City, like everything's like closed. So last time I was here, I had a hard time getting like an Uber or a Lyft. And then last night, I had an easier time, but it was like really windy here. And my Lyft driver shows up and he's just telling me about all his friends that died from COVID.
Oh, great.
I was like, hey, he's not wearing a mask either. I'm like, hey, are you vaccinated? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, he was just like a wigger guy, but it was just funny to me that he just like has a bunch of he had a bunch of screens and they were like almost like old school hip hop videos playing.
Oh my God.
And the back of his car, he had one of those a boom box that like I probably haven't seen since I was like 16 or 17. No one has them in their cars anymore. Yeah. And he had that. That's just what I put my luggage on.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well,
but he was like, he told me he has 3 cars. He's got 2 payments to sell off his house. It must be cheap as shit to live here.
Oh, Oklahoma City? Yeah. I mean,
probably.
Yeah. I mean, like comparative, you live in, what do you live in the Bronx?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's comparatively, square footage that you can get for what you're probably paying for your apartment in the Bronx. You probably have like a couple of acres, several houses and 3 cars, just like this guy.
Yeah, he has 3 cars. He said he's telling me his whole life story. He's like, my wife wants to get another car. And I was like, dude, just drive. Stop talking to me and contaminating the air.
Don't you do the thing where you just like stick headphones in and be like, or try to pretend like you're sleeping?
I guess you could do that, but he was real chatty.
Oh
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like he got lost too, coming to get me.
Oh,
Best Lyft driver ever.
this guy's terrible.
Guy.
Oklahoma City, it's like everything in the airport's closed. It's almost like you're the last flight, and if you don't get out of there, you're stuck there.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh my God. That sounds like a nightmare. And it doesn't sound like, so which club are you playing out there?
Bricktown Comedy Club.
Is that your first time playing there? Or have you been there before?
No, I opened for Ari here about 2 months ago. And then I just came back to headline, but it's a cool club. The guy that runs it has a bunch of clubs, like one in Spokane, one in Appleton. He has a couple of them, but they're fun.
Does that seem like to be like the kind of the deal with a lot of those comedy clubs is that like you always hear there's different like franchise clubs almost. It seems like there's a lot of clubs that there's a lot of like is Helium in more than places? Like I know they're in Philly, but I feel like there's more than one Helium.
Helium has a couple of different places. I've never performed at Helium's, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I think they have a bunch. I think Punchline might have a couple.
Punchline, yeah. Like the Improv, is the Improv got like several places like kind of everywhere, or is that?
There's a bunch of improvs, but I don't think they're all owned by the same people.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I think it's a couple of people own some and a couple of people own the others.
Right.
I'm not sure.
I do, but would you say like you prefer like doing New York stand up? Like is that because that's like your home crowd, like they get you, and not that other people don't.
I do like performing in New York City. Just because I do feel like it's somewhat like mind people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of tourists too, especially if you're down in the village doing like the cellar and the underground. It's a lot of tourists too. So it is interesting to see what works and doesn't work. Although with COVID coming back and everyone getting it again, I think the numbers have been a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I'll see next week when I'm out there because I didn't have any spots last week.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of boomeranging back, but like who knows what the fuck's going on? They're like, oh, well, everyone's getting Omicron and now then it's going to be gone. But then it's like, oh, maybe not.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but then the next Greek alphabet letter is going to come out. You wish you could
just get
it over with.
I want to get it in the beginning of February so that I could just not worry about every time I travel. Like if I get sick here, then I'm just stuck here.
Oh yeah. That would suck.
February in the beginning, I don't really have any travel stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to try and get it. I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I'm going to try and just get it. Maybe I'll join the gym again.
Yeah. Just start
your motivation for working out is to get COVID.
Yeah. Rubbing up against sweaty people.
Get it and get it over with. Because it's like every time I go away, I'm like, I can't get sick. I don't want to be stuck somewhere.
That's a scary thing about international travel too. Like I like a bunch of my friends are like, I'm going to Mexico. I'm like, what are you going to do if like you get COVID? You have to stay there for you get quarantined for like 2 weeks. I mean, I guess it could be worse. You're like probably at a resort somewhere, but I think they only give you like a 3-day window that you get like extended. Then what?
Then I guess you're paying for 14 days of a hotel. I don't know.
I don't know.
Or whatever, 11 days.
Just don't tell anyone that you have COVID and you get on a fucking plane. Like,
but don't they check?
I think they do.
Not ever. They can check you. They check your temperature. I mean, are they checking like?
I think that when you go to because I'm supposed to go to Europe in February. That's why I want to get it in the beginning of February.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they do make you take a test. So I know that
a test or vaccination, right?
No, they make you take a test.
Swab you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't traveled internationally in a long time, so
yeah,
I don't know what the deal is.
I had a friend that I think he was like in and out of Canada, and when he went in, he didn't have it, and then when he left, he did have it. So he just used his test from when he went in to leave. And it's like, well, what else can you do? You got to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Right.
Stay in Canada for the next. Who knows? Like you get locked down because
lose your. I don't know. That's what I would. I mean, I've heard other stories where people are like, I had it and I just got back on a plane. It's been long enough now that if you didn't get a vaccine, that's on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
No, and I understand some people have compromised immune systems. And it's like, that sucks, but I guess you shouldn't be leaving the house. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to take, look, everyone's got their own choice. You're going to roll the dice. It's up to you. It's your choice, of course, but then you're also taking the risk if you get it, It
sucks, but you're like in a situation where you're like, well, they're not going to pay for any of this. So if you don't have money, what are you supposed to do then? Get totally fucked? I mean,
yeah,
it just is what it is right now. And I think it's like kind of the Wild Wild West.
It is. It stinks. So we talked to Sarah a couple of times on the podcast. She was gracious enough to join us, and she talked about you guys coming up with Vag. Any plans to bring the podcast back? You get the band back together at some point? That was a very funny podcast.
I think our main problem, like we had fun doing it and we loved it. We just weren't making money off of it. And we were doing it for almost 5 years. And it's like, one of us needed to pop at some point. And if that happens, I think we would definitely go back to doing it. Cause it is, I mean, Sarah and me together just have great chemistry and the podcast was always so fun. But it's just like after a while, if you're not making any money doing it, you're like, well, we could just hang out, and not tape it. For a while, she was doing all of that, like downloading and stuff. I didn't even have a computer that I could do that with for a while. And then we hired somebody, and then like whatever money we were making, we were just paying him. No, we were just paying him, I think, whatever we were making. So we were making no money.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Breaking even to do it.
Yeah. And I think if we were making money, like sometimes she'd be going away for a couple of weeks at a time. So we'd be doing like 10 episodes a week. And it's just hard to do, not 10, but like maybe 6. And it's just hard to do that much content in a week. You're like, I don't even know what else we could possibly say to each other.
Exactly. Yeah. I can imagine, but wasn't it, I can't remember exactly, but wasn't the premise of it like how you guys started that? I want to say it had to do with 2 female cops. It was like that's how you started.
I had that joke about 2 female cops, and then me and her wrote a script about it, and then we just started doing a podcast too. Yeah.
Yeah. And you came up with different versions. Like Vag came from Badge or something like that. I can't remember which is something like that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Badge, and then I just thought it was Vag, and I said that to her, and she was like, "That's funny." So then we just did that. But I think too, if me and her were making like some of the money that some of these other comics are making, it would have been more like a job, instead of just kind of fitting it in. Like say we did every Tuesday or Wednesday, then I don't know. I just think we weren't just making enough money to keep doing it.
I'll tell you one thing that I love.
Well, we don't make any money doing this, so we feel you on that. We're in it for the love of the game, I guess.
Yes.
Doing it. Do either of you? Did you have an interest in doing stand-up?
Yeah, I mean, like it's something. Yeah, go ahead.
It started because we were bored as shit during lockdown. So Chris wanted to do a podcast. He did one episode by himself, and it sounded like a manifesto. So he asked me if I wanted to be his first guest. We were in a band together for like 16, 17 years. We were up and down the East Coast, played CBGBs a bunch of times and, like indie record deal, all that stuff. So we're like, hey, let's get together. We'll talk about our crazy music shit. And we've known each other since 2nd grade and we're both 45 now. So we got plenty of stories to tell just about the 2 of us being friends and busting each other's balls and stuff like that. And that's kind of how the podcast started. And then we started getting people on and started getting followers and so on and so forth. But I mean, we haven't made any money doing it, and who knows if we ever will, but just do it because it's fun and it's great to break up like our corporate lives, you know what I mean? Which are boring as shit. So having fun doing this type of stuff and talking to cool people such as yourself. I mean, it's cool to just hang out with my friend and talk shit. Which a lot of comedians do with their podcasts anyway. So I figure like, why the fuck can't we do it if we're, if we have a platform and we have interesting shit to talk about, let's just do it.
Yeah. Even if like, frankly, nobody listened, it wouldn't really matter. Like, but we have been blessed. Like people have actually been interested in coming on the podcast and people are listening to it. So, which is, like, it's not like anything you expect. And I guess you keep your expectations kind of low. It doesn't really matter one way or the other, but it's always cool when like people start to dig it. I did broadcasting when I was in college and I missed it. It's kind of what spurred me to do it. But to answer your question, like I definitely want to get on the stage. I'm actually, frankly, honestly terrified to do it the first time because I know I'm going to eat shit immediately because that's what's going to happen. I'm going to go on. What's that?
Yeah, a lot of people don't eat shit the first time. Like I didn't eat shit the first time, and then I did for like the next 10 weeks. The first time, if you do okay, you'll keep doing it, even if like the next 10 times are terrible.
Yeah, I try to tell him, I'm like, I have no interest in doing it. I mean, I'd do like an open mic or something. Like if we had to do a live podcast, I would totally do something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But we've eaten shit more times on stage musically than I can count. And I always tell them, like, you're not, can't be any worse than some of the dog shit gigs we played, like a outdoor wakeboarding contest.
Oh, the one in
Maryland,
Virginia. Oh, was it
where it rained
Virginia?
and we almost got electrocuted, like shit like that.
That was bad. That was very bad.
You know,
or the German restaurant we played at Ludwig's Garden in Philadelphia.
You bombing at an open mic at Soul Joel's is not going to for you.
That's
you
true.
will be fine.
I'll do it. I'm going to do it. I will do it. I promise.
Just get on stage. I did a show one time that was in a church that was no longer a church. And it was the church itself was beautiful, but it was like kind of a memorial for a guy who died on one of those little boats. It's not a boat, but it's like
a kayak.
I guess it's kind of like a jet ski or something.
Oh, okay. Like a wave runner or something like that? Like one of those. That's
what I think. Yeah, he died on one of those. And it was a beautiful church, and they had like a bunch of people there, and everyone was like eating like kind of expensive little dishes and stuff. And then the sister went up and just made it so sad about her brother dying. And then we all had to do stand up after. And it was so
God. What? Don't you usually get people walk up the room? Like
it reminded me of that. Like I forgot about it. I think we got paid like $100 each. It was during the day. It was so bad.
Is that the worst gig you ever had?
I don't know. I did another gig at a VFW in Connecticut. And it was weird because I've never been to that part of Connecticut, and I just didn't assume that there were like rednecks there. But it's like tire shop after like gun shop. It was just bizarre. And I go to this place, and I just like, I was supposed to do 45 minutes, I think, and I just like started bombing right away. And then I had to, and then I guess I got the light. I got out of there, and then the guy tried to pay me less money, and I'm like, "Hey, man, you know my comedy, and you can't." I think I let him pay me like $100 less to give, because then they made the other guy that was doing better before me go back up. I was like, "All right, I'm gonna leave."
Oh, that's rough. You're like, "Oh man,
like you move over."
Yeah, I gotta cleanse the palate.
I also turned them off by saying, "Oh, I know what it was." So it was all Hispanic comics and me on the lineup. And the audience was pretty rednecky. And I said, all the people on this, I said something like, everyone on the show is who you guys are trying to take their rights away. And I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
I know, but they did not think it was funny. And then I just started bombing.
Maybe because it was hit too close to home. They really were trying to take their rights away. They're like, but she's figured us out.
I know, but they didn't think it was funny. And I did. And I was like, I misjudged this crowd big time. I've had a lot of gigs. A lot of people have, though.
What do you think of, because we talked about Soul Joel's a couple of times, and Soul Joel's kind of became this like mini comedy mecca during the pandemic. And we live literally 5 minutes from there. What were your thoughts on like playing there? Because it was just to have like an outside beach club next to train tracks in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. Like it was a weird spot, but people seem to dig it.
I mean, a lot of the shows that I was doing when they were outdoors, like I remember doing this one show that was on the top of first of all, it looked like The Wire. Like this.
Oh no. Oh God.
Yeah, this area of Brooklyn where I was like, I'm from the Bronx, and the Bronx is pretty shitty, but this is like the worst area.
Ooh.
So then you're going on to this building and you're just doing a rooftop show, and there's literally trains passing as you're on stage. And then at one point I was doing a show up there, and anytime I did shows there, they were fun. But one time I was doing a show and I was doing pretty well, and I lost most of the audience, and they were all just taking a picture of a sunset. So that's just what you do on outside shows. So the fact that there was a train station kind of by Soul Joel's didn't really matter. Like I was performing like right in front of a train station.
Yeah,
it's always fun. The old train track shows.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, great! I just stepped on my tag. Yeah. Thank you so much.
The guy, a hobo with a stick and a rag was walking by.
Yeah, those shows were interesting. I did another show in Midtown, and it was just like cop cars the whole time. You're like, this is awful, because they're outside, so you're just like in the elements.
Wasn't it? I can't remember who was talking to us about doing drive-in shows or something like that. They were talking about like it was the drive-in movie theaters. Yeah.
Yeah. I got asked to do one and it just like didn't happen. But yeah, they didn't Colin Quinn do like a special about it?
Yeah, he did on HBO. Yeah. It's just weird for like people, instead of like clapping, honking, like
the horns.
Yeah, it's like, are you happy with me? Are you angry with me? It depends. Like if it's like
a popcorn, like what the fuck is happening?
I don't know. Did you accidentally bump your elbow into it? It's tough.
I mean, I guess comics are just kind of like take a lot of risks and stuff on shows where you're like, let's see how this pans out. I'm surprised they want to do a special about it though. I guess somebody wants to be the first person to capture comedy like that, but
yeah, it is interesting. It's a different vantage point. You wouldn't have, like, if you would have told somebody 3 or 4 years ago, hey, people will be doing comedy over Zoom and in drive-ins, I think they'd be like, no, they're not. There's no way that's happening.
Yeah, people need to make money, so they figured out a way. And Soul Joe's was actually pretty cool. I think the tent helped it a lot to keep it kind of like condensed and not so much of outside noise. I liked it. I had fun when I was there.
First time we went there, we saw Big J and Louis J. Gomez.
Was that the fight?
It was a time after that. It was the time after the fight. But they talked about that. But it just so happened to be like 40 degrees out. And this was cold. Before they had the dome over it. So people were like in front of like kerosene heaters and like propane heaters. Louis J. Gomez had to like take a hooded sweatshirt from
the
one of the bouncers. Like it was fucking weird. I'm like, I can't believe that this is what the world has come to at this point. I'm like, you're basically playing in Pennsylvania's largest ashtray. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Though, I guess without that big tent, it must be freezing there.
It was it's an ice cold that night.
It's an open field, so it's like there's nothing blocking. There's no buildings out there. The building is like way off to the left. So but
before the dome, they had like pop-up canopies, like those.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You see it like football tailgates. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, but it was great, and I know that he hasn't said. I don't think he said where he's moving his. He's doing the dome again. I think he's going to do like the dome somewhere else now. I don't know. He hasn't said. He's like keeping it a mystery, but it's somewhere. I'm guessing somewhere around here because he moved like 10 miles down the road to the Westover Golf Club, which I'm guessing is where you're playing. And that's where like they're doing their shows right now. And that's like the interim place before he goes to wherever his final destination is going to be. But
so is he going to have the indoor place and outdoors? He's just going to do outdoors again?
I don't know, because like, I don't think his intention was to have the outdoor space originally, because I talked to Dan, the guy who's like he's like the MC a lot of time, the host. And he said that the inside, like the building that I was just talking about, that's like kind of to the left, if you're facing the stage, was where they rented space. But then COVID hit.
Don't they have like a big theater in there? Because I went to pee outside there and I remember seeing like a theater.
Yeah. I think that when COVID hit, though, because it was so enclosed, they weren't going to be able to do any shows in there. So they decided, like, ingenious move to put a big, put a stage outside and then eventually put a dome on it. And people really liked it. So I think that he's like, you know what, this is like a thing that people are digging. So I think he's going to probably, it looked like based on the pictures on Instagram, he's going to do it somewhere else.
That did seem like a perfect location for it though.
Mm-hmm. I mean, minus the train, but yeah. I didn't
notice the train that much.
Yeah.
It's at a golf course now, which we've had now 2 comedians tell us.
Oh, that's right.
Golf courses are the worst gigs imaginable. Yeah. Both Jiggy and I guess it was Casey Jost.
Yeah, Casey
so
Jost,
like playing golf courses like these like drunk dudes getting prime rib buffet, and you're trying to tell jokes. Like that's not.
I could see
fun.
that not being fun.
It's a recipe for disaster.
I did another show that I didn't realize was on a farm until like 2 days before I was supposed to do it.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was. I guess it was last summer. It was outside and it was like in a daisy field.
Like actually, it was a daisy, just like a giant daisy.
It was a giant daisy field. I don't know how these people get money. Like you had to be driven from the parking lot to the farm.
Oh no. Wow.
Yeah. It was so hot. There was no like dome or anything, no tents. And the crowd was so far away that you couldn't really even talk to them. It was a nightmare of a show.
Was everybody wearing white dresses? Was this like midsummer?
No, it was, I had no idea what I was even like in for until I got there. And I was like, oh man, I should have like, when this guy booked me for the show, he never told me that it was going to be outside on a farm.
Yeah, probably because he knew that you would say, no, I'm not doing that.
It was terrible. And then he just threw me under the bus. And I was like, dude, you know what kind of comedy I do? You're booking me on a farm. Like, There's not even people I could talk to. They're so far away. I was like, whatever, man. You shouldn't throw comics under the bus. But I was like, I'm definitely not working with that guy again.
Yeah,
I haven't worked on my farm material.
Exactly.
I mean, I just didn't know how they made any money. All they're selling is daisies. How much could they possibly be?
Yeah, I know. It
has to be like another, like, and it was also off the highway too. There has to be some type of drug deal.
Yeah, definitely selling meth there.
Money off of daisies.
You see a dude walking around with an apron and no pants? Because that would be a clear indicator that meth is being made in that area.
Maybe they're definitely doing something out there because I think they're selling daisies for $1.
Oh yeah. That's not daisies. That's daisies. That's
maybe, yeah. I was like, this is such a weird gig, and it was pretty far.
That's crazy.
When we saw you at Soul Joel's with Sarah, you did a bit where you were basically just reading Tinder responses. And it was fucking funny as shit.
That was the funniest.
Did you go into that like consciously, like, okay, I'm gonna fuck with these people and make a bit out of it? Or did it start like you were actually trying to like date these guys on Tinder and they were just total fucking nightmares and you're like, I'm gonna read these because these are funny as shit?
I think I was like doing shows in Vegas, and one night I just had like such a shitty set, and then I just started fucking with people and it made me like laugh. So I just started doing it. And I was like, oh, these are kind of fun. I should post them because people don't realize how awful it is just dating on those sites. Like I have a friend now that's dating on there. It's just like, it's the worst people. I know people find love on there, but I'm just like, it has to be such a small number.
No, well, first of all, I have to commend you because OK Stupid as your Instagram name is very funny instead of OK Cupid. That's fantastic. And it's interesting because like I've been in a relationship for a very long time, and some of the guys that I go to the gym with were telling me that they're like on these sites, that they are like recently divorced, so they're not like used to the aggressiveness and like that. Like one dude, he had gone out with this girl like twice, and she asked him to make a mold of his dick that she could take with him, like put it into plaster or something like that. And I was like, I don't know, maybe she collects maybe she's like a big game hunter. She's got them on the wall, like a trophy case. I have no idea.
So bizarre.
It's so strange, but like, that's the kind of weird shit that you run into on these sites, you know?
It's a weird alternative to just asking for a dick pic.
Yeah. I think they want to have like
an actual keepsake dick.
Look at my conquest. It's like what you have in your mantle. Look at all the men that I've had. And you know the names of them.
I mean, I guess it's like that on the other side too, because most of the guys are just like disgusting right off the bat.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was talking to a black dude, and this was the funniest one ever to me. He asked me, I guess to like meet up, and I was like, I have to work. And he asked me what I did. And I was like, oh, I volunteer at the KKK. And then he didn't even answer anything to that. He was just like, how about Sunday? So that's a dude that just doesn't care. I mean, like, and that's how a lot of those people are. They're just guys don't give a fuck. They just
roll the dice.
Yeah, they don't care. They're just... they're just ignoring all of the red flags.
I got into like when Match.com first started, like that, like probably like 8 years ago. I was in a relationship for like 6 years. We broke up, and then I started online dating. My first date was a girl who was a contestant, who previously had been a contestant on Rock of Love, the lead singer of Poison, Bret Michaels' reality show. So already red flags, right? So I take this girl to like really nice, like sushi dinner. She's wearing like leggings, like just basically like wearing like yoga pants. And I was like dressed nicely. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was going on like a date. I was like trying to be a gentleman, whatever. And this girl had whore tattooed on the inside of her bottom lip.
Oh,
and she also proceeded to tell me that she didn't think blacks and whites should date, and had a square tattooed on the inside of her finger. She had a bunch of tattoos. And I was like, oh, what's that one? It was like a square on the inside of her knuckle. And then she would go like this, and it would look like a Hitler mustache. And I'm like, well, this has been my foray into
like, you can't even just say like, hey, this is not working out. Let's just leave. I think it'd be better off if you could just do that now.
Yeah, there should be like
no going anywhere. Let's just leave. Remember one time this guy showed up, because I did meet some of those guys before I was doing the trolling stuff. And one guy just showed up and he was like kind of dragging his foot. And I was like, that's something you should definitely tell me about.
Well, like, yeah, like a club foot?
Yeah, he was.
I don't know if it was a club foot. He was just dragging one of his legs kind of behind him. And I was
he
like,
a pimp? It was like a pimp walk. It's like, hey, baby, what's up?
Definitely not. Definitely
not a pimp.
But I do think if you have a leg that you're dragging, I guess he's probably told people about it and they've been like, I'm out. So now he just started just being like, I'm just going to do it in person. But it was weird. He had a leg he was just dragging.
Yeah.
He's like, sorry about this. Just throws it over his shoulder.
I mean, he didn't say that. He just did it. He just kind of let me walk in front of him.
Yeah. It's like, I'll be there. I'll be right there. You're like, oh God. Then you can jog away.
Just run.
Yeah.
He ain't catching you.
Yeah, he's not catching up.
I remember like, because I was like at the cellar a lot, I would just do a lot of my dates like around the cellar. I remember that guy with the dragging leg. I was just like, I think we got tea or something. And I was like, hey, I'm going to leave. I'm really tired. I was just like, I can't even fake it anymore, where you're like, you know, the date you went on with that girl, I think if you had done it after you had been dating for a while, you'd probably just been like, hey, this is not going to work out.
I had no idea what I was doing. I'm like, is this what it's always going to be like with this online dating shit? Like, it's fucking wild.
That too. That was
we were clearly not hitting it off. Like, but she was like trying. She's like, you want to get out of here and like go back to your place? And I'm like, no, I don't want you to see where I live. Fuck,
I want to get out of here. I want to leave. It'd be great to like if it was like Yelp, you know, where or like, you know, one of those sites where you could give feedback, like, yeah, you know, and then
there would be no good feedback.
Yeah, I know. It'd be like, yeah, you were a scumbag, or, you know, I think I could maybe have gotten over the whore under your lip, but the Hitler mustache on your knuckle, that I just can't get past.
Get Brett Michaels' autograph tattooed on like her side, like the side rib tattoo thing. Like she had that autograph tattooed on her body.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. You seem like a hot mess. That must have been fun though, to enjoy how like awful it was.
Oh yeah. And I mean, until I got like the, you know, $150 dinner bill. And my buddy the next day was like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Don't take these chicks out like this. What's wrong with you? It's like, go
you
get
didn't know.
lunch.
In fairness, you didn't know. You were trying.
Let's go get drinks. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. This shit didn't exist the last time I was
You and that girl hook up?
No. Fuck no. Oh, and I picked her up at her mom's house too, which, I mean, just, it was all bad.
Nice.
Yeah. All the
I'm like, I'm burning this app to the fucking ground.
Well, and it was Match.com. So they thought that girl was a good fit for you, which is like, what the fuck?
What she wrote on her profile though.
Oh, it's like, I love dogs. I love music.
But she also does love dogs and Hitler mustaches.
Yeah,
exactly.
I didn't know she was training her dogs to sick them on black people. Like, she didn't say that.
What a crazy person.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
So
I just
thought that that's how it was always going to be, which is why I appreciated you like reading these Tinder responses, because I was fucking.
I'll probably read some of them again.
It's so fucking funny.
They are very funny. So I noticed that you're going to be performing at the Moon Tower Festival. That's pretty cool. Is that your first time doing it?
So last year I was booked to do it, and that's a flight that never took off.
Oh,
so
no.
Other comics were on a plane and it had already gotten delayed, and then it got delayed again. And then they were having some problem where they're like, we need to pick a different traffic pattern because there's really bad weather. Oh. And they said they got it approved, and they had to still wait. And they were like, well, the problem now is that the crew's been working since early this morning. And we're going to hit a time where we can't work anymore. So we're going to have to go back to the airport. And they delayed it till about 8:00, and then they just canceled it.
Oh man.
So I didn't get to go last year. So I don't know. Hopefully it'll be fun this year and I'll get to go.
Well, it's in April, right? So it's I can't remember the exact dates, but it's like April 20 something, or it's like, or is it early April?
21st to the 23rd.
Yeah. That's got to be fun though. Like, I like one thing that I haven't gotten a chance to go experience, but I definitely want to is Skankfest, because
I was just gonna say that you guys would love Skankfest. I went last year, really fun, and it's very well organized too. There's like stuff all day long, and I think the fans really had a good time.
Yeah, and from what everyone says is like, because again, those fans get a pretty bad rap, but they're like the best comedy fans. They're like the nicest people.
They're the nicest people.
Yeah.
Very respectful. I do think a lot of them are podcast fans and they like stand up, but not necessarily they love stand. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're there for podcasts.
Right.
They're still fun audience members and they enjoy the shows, but I think they're there really for the podcasts.
Yeah.
And that was the last time I saw Bob Saget. He went up at one of the shows after me.
Did they ever find out what happened to him? They say a heart attack or something like that?
I haven't heard anything, so I have no idea. But I don't know if he's like I don't know what his, like if he did drugs or anything. He doesn't seem like he would, but who knows? Yeah.
Who knows? You never know what those, like, it's always like those things are a mystery when people are just mysteriously found dead in a hotel room or something like that. But
yeah,
man,
he seemed to love stand up though so much. Like you could just tell on stage he was having such a good time, and sucks.
Yeah, that stinks.
Nothing weird has come out, at least not yet.
I haven't seen anything come out. I was watching actually they were playing his roast on Comedy Central, and so many of the people on the dais were dead. It was like
crazy.
Geraldo.
Oh, Jesus.
Who else was the other big one? Me. I don't know if Patrice was on it. Norm Macdonald was on it.
Yeah.
He's great on those roasts because he's like not doing anything that like is nearly roasting people. He's kind of being like tongue in cheek, but it's so funny the people that get it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always so funny. He's like one of my favorite comics.
Yeah, he is very funny. I can't remember. We were talking. Who were we talking to about Norm Macdonald? We were just talking to somebody about him. There was another comedian. We were talking about the was it the moth joke that he did on like it was like really like what people would consider to be like a painfully long setup for just
on Conan. He did it on Conan.
On Conan. Yeah, like it was very funny and like it but the punchline was just like like but that was kind of some of the stuff that Norm did. It was great, the best.
Yeah.
The Skankfest, the reason that the Skankfest is so great because it's like the comedy version of the Gathering of the Juggalos. It's like, like all these people, these comedians that are misunderstood, but are like great, and their fans are misunderstood, but they're great. Like you always get dragged into shit. But like they're the best, the funniest comedians and like the best fans.
Well, it's funny too. That's the weekend that Travis Scott had those people like get killed.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Commenting like, I can't believe people died there and nobody died here, like joking around.
Guess what, Travis? You didn't have Christine Evans and Louis J. Gomez running the show, getting this shit organized. Like for as much shit as people give Louis, the guy is a really good businessman. It's amazing. Yeah,
he loves comedy and he treats comics well. And it was a great festival. I think they're doing it this year in Vegas.
That's what I heard. They're doing, I guess that'll be Skankfest West. Since that last one was Skankfest South. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It was interesting because like in getting prepared for interviews with anybody, I like to like just get some some idea of their background and stuff like that. So I Googled you and I got like, first of all, the top line, it says, Adrienne Iapalucci, musician. I was like, I'm pretty sure she's a comedian. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm guessing you're not a musician. No music out there.
No, but that is fun.
So there was a couple of things that it said that I wanted to see if it's true or not. Through the magic of Google, I'm trying to see if this is right. So is it true that your mom was a comedian?
Yes.
Oh, she was. Okay. That's cool. So
still is. I don't know. She's not like going on the road like me and stuff like that, but she's still doing stand-up. I think she's actually going to move to Florida, which might be better for her. So yeah, she's still doing stand-up.
Well, there you go. So that's true.
That was right.
Okay. All right. The next one was, you worked at a law firm in New Rochelle and you had aspirations of being an attorney.
True. I did work at a law firm. They were actually very cool with my comedy schedule. They would like let me come in late and leave early and stuff. And I did want to go to law school, but I started doing stand-up instead.
Yeah. Passing the bar is hard. I was going to be a lawyer too. And I was like, I had the opposite experience. I was working for a class action firm in Center City, Philadelphia, and they legitimately were the most vile human beings I'd ever met to that point in my life. Horrible, horrible people. They were just like, who can we sue today? They were like, they literally class action attorneys, just monsters. I remember one of the partners, I was like, because I was a grunt. I was like a paralegal and like, just doing, and I was like walking around and this dude literally bumped into me. And like all the mail that I had and stuff in my hands, like just dropped all over the place. He just stepped on me and stepped on the mail and just kept on walking, didn't say anything. I'm like, I have to get the fuck out of here.
Was that a guy that worked in your office?
He was the partner of the firm. I was like, this guy's a piece of shit. So needless to say, I didn't decide to go to law school after that. That was part of it. And then
I do remember.
Good.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, I do remember, I think when Sandy Hook happened, it was just me and my female boss.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of watched that loop all day.
Yeah.
I just thought, something like you're very interested in it to get out of work. We're just like watching the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know if it was cool, but it was a good way to waste time.
Sandy Hook wasn't cool. Let me take that back.
I was going to say, man, I'm not going to let that go.
Sandy Hook was definitely not cool, but
I think that's the opposite. Cool.
It was cool to be able to watch like the stuff in the office where kind of reminds me of 9/11.
Yeah. Also not cool.
Also not cool, but I do jokes about both.
Of course. Yeah. You do have a very funny joke about Sandy Hook. All right. One last one. Is it true both your dog and your car have more impressive credits than you?
My dog and what? My car?
Oh, car.
I don't think I have that car anymore, but my boxer was like an extra in The Sopranos.
That's pretty awesome.
Dog's an extra in The Sopranos?
That's more impressive. Yeah, because my mom would do background work and then sometimes they needed dogs or cars. So she bought her, I think she got paid $35.
Right.
Which is not a lot of work for a dog to be sitting around all day.
Yeah. So will you get to be on set when your dog's there, or like, do they just take your dog and bring it back later? What happens there?
My mom was on set with her, and I think my mom was the one that just kind of walked her. And then, you don't leave the dog with other people.
Yeah. So Iapalucci is obviously an Italian name, so they needed Italian extras so your mom made the cut. Pretty sweet.
I guess, but my mom had a different last name, but also Italian. So.
Right.
Once my stepdad died, I told her she couldn't go back to Iapalucci because I didn't want her to try and like use my name in comedy.
Yeah.
So
do you think that she would have tried that? She would try to pull that?
Possibly, but she also likes telling people like, she'll be like, "Oh, do you know my daughter?" And I'm like, "Can you stop doing that?" That's kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, you don't want that.
So you said you're going to Europe. Are you doing that just to visit a friend, or are you going to be doing any gigs?
I don't have any friends in Europe.
Oh, okay.
I would definitely never go visit anyone in Europe during like whatever this dumb pandemic. Now I'm supposed to be opening for Louis C.K. there.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I have to my passport expired during the pandemic, and I was like, well, I don't need to get it done. So now I'm going to try. I have to try and get that in a couple of weeks. So we'll see.
Yeah,
they do have an expedited one, and it's calmed down a bit since last year, but hopefully I get to do it.
Where in Europe? Where exactly in Europe?
So there's two legs of the tour. The first part is Tel Aviv, which I know is not in Europe, but then there's Berlin. I mean, there's a whole bunch of places. Portugal, Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Might be the second part. But yeah, it's a bunch of different places I've never been to.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Like, to go, besides going to open for Louis C.K., which is cool on its own, go be able to travel and see places you've never been there before. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, his crowds are great.
Yeah.
Because I've opened for a bunch of different people, and like his crowds are just like there to laugh. They're not there to be offended, and they're pretty smart people. Ari's crowd's really fun too.
Yeah.
I've opened for Patton a couple of times, Oswald, and I'll get like a lot of people that are very cool. And then this one guy was like, I couldn't believe I had to sit through your set to get through Patton. And I'm like, oh, in a cozy, convenient, comfortable seat in a theater. Shut up.
Well, I don't understand why people do that.
You offended my ears.
I don't want your fucking opinion. Like, seriously, if you're coming up, like, if you didn't like it, then fine, stuff it. Like, I don't need to hear it.
It's 15 minutes. You're like, I couldn't believe I said to your garbage. I'm like, dude, whatever.
I don't think I should have to sift through your garbage right now. Like, leave, go away. I don't want your opinion. It's not like you're going to have some kind of aha moment and be like, oh, you know what? You're right. I'm going to change my ways. I'm going to do it completely different act now.
I think he just wanted to be known that he did not like my set. But most of the time, most of the people that have ever written to me have been really nice. So it's just like, there's always a couple of people that are dicks.
Of course. Whatever. Yeah. There's lots of dicks in the world. I hate most people. What else?
Basically the basis of our podcast.
Yeah. Hating people or hating things or both?
Both.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, hey, I know that you had a hard stop at 7:00, so I don't want to keep you too long. And I do want to make sure that we promote it properly because we have a lot of fans in this area that would love to go see Adrienne Iapalucci. In fact, we brought a whole gaggle of people to go see you and Sarah. So I'm sure those people would love to go see you again. And everyone had, again, because Soul Jones is awesome. You guys are fantastic comics. Everyone had a really good time. So everyone, please go. Unless I release this in the next 15 minutes, they're not going to be able to go see you in Oklahoma. So go see Adrienne at Soul Joe's on the 29th, Saturday, January the 29th. Go download her album Baby Skeletons, which is very funny. I just listened to it again this week, and it's hysterical. And go watch The Degenerates season 2 and go watch her set because she was extremely funny there too. And I think I speak for both of us. Thank you for coming in and finally being on our podcast. So I don't have to hear.
I'm very sorry that I didn't get on right away.
Not your fault.
It's been a couple of rough months.
No, that's okay.
All good. I just like busting Chris's balls. So
yeah,
you made my day. That's all.
Yeah.
That
no, I think you guys are great. It's nothing personal. I promise you that.
No. I hope not. What we have.
Oh
done,
no, I want it to be personal.
I know. It was like sight unseen.
Like, I don't like your fucking face.
She looked at your
stupid emails all the time.
I didn't though. I was very.
I know. I'm just. That's what I want. So
I know what you want because you're a dick. I hope the baby shits on you in the next 5 minutes.
I'm sure that's going to happen.
I hope to God.
Glad you didn't go to space.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. My astronaut dreams are dashed.
That's all right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrienne. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Something you don't. Bring that shit in.